Hey there, I'm Han.
And I'm Kat, and we're Brews and Reviews.
So, today's video we are going to do our August wrap up.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like we need to apologise.
Yeah.
We have been so unbelievably useless lately.
This whole month has sort of been like a complete, wash.
Yeah.
We started off the month with this horrendous book hangover from the 2 readathons that we did at the end of the last month. And it kind of just didn't really get better from there.
No.
Like, most of the books... Sorry, this is a very clinky little spoon. Most of the books that we read this month... Well, most of the books that I read this month were audiobooks. And I actually only read 2 physical books this month.
And what? Up until like near enough 3 weeks in, I hadn't even read a book yet, so I had to proper get on it.
Yeah, I feel like you've been had a lot of trouble with your back this month, and I've had a lot. I had a kickboxing grading, and I'm now an orange belt.
Woo! Which I couldn't do. I couldn't do my grading because of my back, which I'm really sad about.
Yeah, you'll get back into it.
Yeah,
no problem. So basically, August was like a complete.
Yeah, we've just had so much on.
Yeah, my parents went away and I spent a lot of the time looking after my nana as well, so...
Everything just proper took a back burner, didn't it?
Yeah, so that's why we've not really posted any videos this month, and we're hoping to get back into it now that September has started.
So make sure we do. Get on us.
Yeah, if we don't, literally just say, what are you doing?
What are you doing? What are you playing at?
So the first book I listened to this month was Remote Control by Andy McNabb. Now, I really enjoyed this book, but I think I enjoyed it the most because Andy McNabb is my mum's favourite author. And this is the first of his books that I've ever read, and it is quite nice to be able to, chat with my mum about the books that I'm reading, because usually I'm chatting with my dad, because we usually read the same sort of thing, or chatting with you, because we usually read the same sort of thing. But, it's nice to be able to talk to my mum about it. Although, I was a bit surprised at, a few points in this book that were really quite gruesome. And I was like, how did Mum read this? She's like, don't tell me about anything gross. She's like, no. And then I asked her about it, and she was like, no, I just skimmed that bit. Don't tell me about it. I don't want to know. So, it's basically about a guy who was in the SAS, and which is interesting because Andy McNabb was in the SAS, and it's very realistic. There's a lot of sitting around and waiting, which is actually more realistic than the whole go, 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 and not everything works out the way that the main guy, Nick Stone, wants it to, and I just think it's pretty good. It's a nice action book, and I've not really read very many action books, so I picked up the next book in the series because I want to carry on reading them. The second book that I read this month was Blindsided by Karen Slaughter. Now, if you've been on our channel long, I'm sure you will have noticed that there is a Complaints with Cat video about this book, because, by God, is it awful. I'm not going to talk about it now, because it just made me angry. But, check out that video, we'll link it below.
I had to sit through that video and wowzers.
But it was bad, though. Yeah. It was bad. Then, the third book that I listened to this month was Emma by Jane Austen, and I actually really liked it. I was in the mood for a bit of a classic, and I found a free audiobook app because I was being cheap, and I ran out of tokens on Audible, so I was like,
well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, so I found it actually through Beautiful Pages. She was talking about how she'd found this app, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll get on that. So yeah, I found this. And it was actually really good. I enjoyed Emma quite a bit. It's not my favourite Jane Austen book, but it has that whole sort of Regency love sort of thing, and mix-ups and mishaps of that sort of time, which was quite cute. And then I got a bit frustrated with it because Emma, dear God, stop trying to match people. Stop it. You're really bad at it. Other than that, it was a good book. The next book I listened to was History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I really like this book. It's a contemporary... It's about a guy that dies, and it's told from the point of view of his ex-boyfriend, who is still very much in love with him, and he meets the current boyfriend of the guy that died, and it's about him coping with it. it's an own voices story about a guy with OCD, and yeah, it was really cute. There were a lot of like modern references in it that were really cute, and it was just really like nice, but also heartbreaking to sort of see the main character go through this like heartbreak and all of how he deals with his grief. So I would recommend this book for you if you like contemporaries, and it's a great LGBT book.
So this month we've been very excited because a while back we planned to do a buddy read with Becca from Books and Looks, and the book that we chose to do was Wintersong. This book had so much potential.
Oh, it did. I was so excited for it because it's based around Labyrinth, which is one of my all-time favourite movies, and there's like this little Jim Henson shaped heart in like Jim Henson shaped hole in my heart. Like, I don't know. Listen, David Bowie and all that. So
I mean,
it was bad.
do you know what was the best part about it? Was mine, yours and Becca snaps to each other.
Yeah, it was,
because
yeah.
they were what kept me going,
Yeah.
because they were just hilarious at how ranty we all were about the book. I mean, it was terrible.
We won't go into too much detail
No.
here. We're going to do a Complaints with Cat, which is probably more of a Complaints with Han this time, because
I hated it more than you.
yeah, like I had some sort of like Labyrinth fan fiction nostalgia going on with it,
So
which
you
sort of
could
made me
bear
like,
with it, couldn't you?
yeah, like I could cling on. Like I didn't like it, but I
Yeah.
could cling on. But you were like, kill me now, please stop.
It was just like my personal opinion. Like, I thought it was awful. There was nothing to it that like pulled me in and was like, yeah. It was like, no.
Anyway, we'll
We'll go more into that on
Yeah.
the review.
look. Just watch out for that, because
Yeah.
wowzers, that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
So the next book that I listened to this month was A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. I've been kind of working my way through the Game of Thrones audiobooks because I don't have the time and patience to read it, but to listen to it at work, I mean, that's a good 40-hour book there. I quite enjoyed it. Like,
They were alright.
Yeah.
What book did I get up to? 3 or 4? One of them.
I think we were midway through 4.
Yeah.
And then, like, lost patience with it. But I think when someone else is reading it to you, it doesn't feel quite as much of a slog to get through, because I know that they're very, I don't know, dense a little bit. So, I've found that listening to them has been the best way to get through them. Then I read my next physical book of the month, Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I actually really like this book. I'm liking this series more and more as more magic comes into it, and I predicted the thing that happened at the end, like that. I was like, that's happening. But, I don't mind that, and I'm really intrigued as to where this is going with, more references to Fae, and, I want to know what's going to happen there. It makes me want to pick up the next one. I felt that this book was a lot better than the previous book, because I do think the first book in the series was very much of an introductory book.
That's how it felt, didn't it?
I can see you enjoying this one much more than the last one.
Yeah, and
So-
I'm intrigued by what you've been saying about how the introduction to the sort of Fae aspects. So
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah, it's good.
So after Wintersong, I thought I need to just get back into a book, because otherwise I'd go into a huge book slump again. So I picked back up Jurassic Park, and I've been reading this for a while now.
Yeah. Because you had to put it down for the readathons,
Yeah.
didn't you?
And I haven't been reading it because I haven't enjoyed it, because I really have. It's just, it's dinosaurs. But, so, it's not that I didn't enjoy it, because when I picked it back up, I felt like it was at the heart of the book, which it was like, oh, if I'd have read a bit more, do you know what I mean?
You would have.
It would have been so much easier to get back into.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I just love the gore, and you could literally see it in front of you, all the dinosaur attacks and stuff. It was literally like you were watching it in the film, which I really liked. And just the dinosaurs, the descriptions, and it just opened up my love for dinosaurs again.
Yeah.
I felt like I did my own research on all the dinosaurs, and do you know what it did, right? I've had this huge like problem with. I've never known the difference between some of the dinosaurs,
Right.
like the Diplodocus and like the Brachiosaurus and stuff. But
Yeah.
this like helps you understand that.
Yeah.
And I was so happy about that. Literally, it's majorly stressed me out for so long.
I mean,
And I
the
was just-
internet is a great
yeah,
thing though,
well,
but like...
yeah. No, but it never explained, because I have Googled
No,
it,
this
but it
is
never
true.
explained it until the book, and I was like, oh! So yeah, thanks. It was brilliant. I loved it.
I'm really glad you read that one as well.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you're definitely going to love it.
I did, I loved it. It was really good.
So the last book that I technically finished this month, I listened to on an audiobook, but I actually have a physical copy, and I've kind of been wanting to read it for a long time. It was Red Dragon by Thomas Harris, which for some reason I can never remember. This is the first book in the Hannibal Lecter series, which is kind of odd because Hannibal Lecter's not really in it. He's like in it a little bit, kind of Silence of the Lambs style, how much he's in it.
Yeah.
Like if you think the film, he's only in it for about 16 minutes. That's like the book equivalent. This is, yeah. But actually, I found it really interesting. I found the whole character development thing. There's some twisted ass people in this book. Like there's crazy grandma with the scissors, and you know Mr. Bitey Bitey. It's one of those sort of really like violent type of books, and I liked it a lot. The narrator was interesting. He had a very deep voice. He sounded like he was like Worf from Star Trek, chain smoking for about 50 years.
Nice.
And then there was a moment that's supposed to be dead serious where one guy's been kidnapped by the killer, and the killer's like showing this guy lots of like pictures of what he's done to these victims, and he's like, do you see? And the guy's like, yes. Do you see? Yes. But the way he said it was like in some sort of Hammer horror film, and he was like, do you see? Yes. Do you see? Yes. It's like, what? I'm sat there trying to take it seriously, and he's like, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was a really, really good book. I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 5 stars? Don't know what I gave it. It's either 4 or 5 star book, but I enjoyed it a lot. So, I'll definitely be reading Silence of the Lambs and like the next books in this series, because I really enjoyed the writing style. Now, technically, I didn't finish this next book on my list. I DNF'd it. Now you guys know me. It's got to be a terrible...
If you can get through Plague Pit and
Right.
not DNF it.
How bad is this book that I DNF'd? Really bad. The book that I am talking about is Lies by T.M. Logan. Now, I picked this book up on Audible because it was a daily deal. It was $2.99. I'm cheap, you know, come on.
$2.99 for it.
I know. I only made it about 2.5 hours into this book. Now, let me just say, I was really annoyed by the fact that the dialogue in this book was so inane and whiny, and it was about this guy and his son, and he was there like, oh, you alright, matey, matey? And then the child was like, oh, play Audis, let's play Audis, I want to go that, where's Mummy's car, Mummy's car? And it just ground me into the dust. But not only that, there was also this like, is his wife cheating on him kind of thing going on, and like he follows her to a hotel, sees her talking to one of his like their family friends, and like he's like, oh, is she cheating sort of thing. And anyway, when they get home later, he was like, oh, I saw you at the hotel, and she's like, I wasn't at the hotel. And he's like, yeah, but I definitely saw you at the hotel. She's like, no. And then later on, she's like, oh, I was there. I was talking to him about this this thing that's going on with his work. Yeah, silly, isn't it? Silly. And he's like, oh, okay then. And then a bit later, she's like, oh, do you remember that wedding that we were at a couple of years ago? Maybe sort of kissed me at that wedding, and then, oh, I went away and nothing else happened. And he's like, oh, okay then. Oh, alright, I still believe you though, yeah. And then a bit later on, the guy who's the friend that she's supposedly not seeing, his wife comes in and shows, like, they're in a wacky warehouse, like, what? And she comes in and she's like, "You slut! Look at 139 pictures of your boobs on his phone! Have you seen what you've done?" Like, these are the voices that were put on by the guy, by the way, like, not me. No.
What? They actually had, the guy has to narrate.
There's a guy narrating a woman, yeah.
Oh, right.
Like, he's just
In
putting out
normal,
there
in
the
normal
voice.
books, did he actually narrate in the normal voice when they're the girl, or did he generally put on
No, they
voices?
put on voices.
Do
Like,
they?
yeah, it's
Oh,
like,
I feel
usually
like
it's
that's
better than
a bit
that.
cringy.
No, it's not that bad usually.
Oh.
But anyway, tangent. Basically, it felt like this weak-willed shit of a main character. Just, it was like he was like some sort of sad puppy that had just like peed on the floor and then somebody decided to punch it while it was down. Like, I couldn't do it. It like hurt me inside. I couldn't keep reading it, so I had to DNF it. Like, I wonder maybe if I could have got through it if it was a physical book, but it wasn't, so I couldn't sit there and listen to it, and I just couldn't do it.
Just to go off topic, so like, even in Game of Thrones and stuff?
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah, there's like this one
Oh.
guy, and he's narrating all of the different voices. That's why I'm like dead confused by like Welsh Tyrion. Like, they put on accents as well. Yeah, because Tyrion's got a Welsh accent, but Jaime and Cersei have English accents, which is totally weird. And like, Samwell Tarly sounds like he's from Yorkshire, but then so does Brienne of Tarth, and like, that's just weird. That doesn't quite work on the map.
I don't know why I've never thought about this before.
It's because you never listened to an audiobook. They're so good. Like, it sounds cringe, but it's not cringe. It's like a really interesting way to do it. We're never going to agree on the audiobook front. It's just not going to happen. Anyway, so that was our August wrap up. The only other interesting thing that we did in August was that we both got piercings, because that was a fun time. Like, we've been wanting to do that for a little while.
Yeah. We're both brave enough to take the plunge and do it.
Well, I mean, you did it, and then I was like, oh my god, I need to do mine now. Like, it needs to happen.
Mine wasn't planned, it was very spontaneous, and
I usually do mine after I've done, like, something, I've achieved something, like, after I've, like, passed my exams and stuff like that, and, like, this time I just happened to have, like, passed my kickboxing grading, so I was like, well, if you say so, like, don't know why that was a good experience of my piercing. Like, I think it was more like this.
yeah. To be fair, you handled it better than me.
I think you're just loud and screamy, and I was just like silent and don't ever move because I will die.
So, thanks for watching, and
We're going to be better at posting from now on.
yeah,
I hope so.
we're going to try and be on it again.
Yeah. And if we're not,
Tell us off.
yeah. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you read this month, if you've read any of the books that we have, and like agree or vastly disagree with any of our opinions. I dare you to pick us up on Winter Song, because we were willing to go down with a fight with that one. Yeah, that's a terrible book. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Oh, wait.
Alright.